Okay, so one of the exercises we're going to do to help with mobility in your hips, especially after you get up, maybe you just woke up out of bed, you don't want to get out of bed and your hip, you just threw your back out yesterday, is the pelvic clock. It's a great exercise to increase mobility and stretch the surrounding areas, including your hips and lower back. So we're going to start pretty simply in this supine position, okay? And what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be getting into a 12 and 6 position with our pelvis. So we're looking at 12 and 6. So as she's doing the 12, she's kind of, yes, tucking. She's tucking under, and that point of pressure is right at 12 o'clock. So tucking under, and then to get to the 6 point, she's arching. Putting my arm underneath here, my hand, you can see that it's arching and her point of pressure is at 6. So then you rock back and forth, 12 and 6. And the best way to think about this when you're doing this at home, okay, is to squeeze your core and squeeze your butt to get to 12, and then let everything relax and arch and push through your lower back to get to that 6 o'clock point. So then we're going to go back and forth with this, and the next one we're going to do is a 3 and 9. Okay, so again, if I'm looking at a clock here, okay, and we're going around this way, that's going to be the 3, and that's going to be the 9, whatever position you're at. So she's rocking to the 3 and then rocking to the 9. You want to limit your feet moving as much as you can. You see she's all coming from the hips. Rock down, 3 and 9. 3 and 9. And again, do each of these positions for about 30 to 60 seconds. And then you're going to combine everything. So now she's going to go from 12 to 3 to 6 to 9 with the pelvis. Okay, all coming from the core. If we get it from this angle, you can see how she's using her hips, using her core, rotating around in that circular motion. And you go both directions for about 5 to 6 times each direction. And it's really going to help loosen everything up, get you feeling better, and that's the first exercise. We'll move on to the next one. All right, so the next exercise we're going to be doing is a bridge on the floor, and we're doing little pelvic tilts side to side. So remember we talked about that 3 and 9 position? Now we're doing that while you're holding a bridge. And again, if you have back pain and this is too much, you don't have to come up as high doing the bridge. Just come up as high as you can without pain. And then you're tilting the hips side to side. And we'll get from this angle so you guys can see this a little bit better. As she's bridging, she's just dropping that hip to one side, dropping it to the other. And again, we're going to do this for 30 to 60 seconds just to warm things up. All right, so now the third exercise we're doing is the knee rockers. So as you can see, Beth has her feet together and she's rocking side to side. Her hands are out in a T position, palms down. And as you're rocking side to side, again, if you feel tight, okay, loosen up. Do about 30 to 60 seconds and then come back to again for a second set, and you might be able to go a little bit further. Eventually, you want to work your way getting down as far as you can without pain. And then to change it up a little bit, you can spread your feet out a little bit and then rock side to side. Okay, and that might not be as hard to do. It might be a little bit easier on that, so you can do it with your feet spread out a little bit. Or if you want to make it harder, you can put your feet together. And again, shoot for 30 to 60 seconds per set. Do a couple sets of these, and that'll help loosen up that lower back. Okay, so the next exercise is a cat-cow exercise. This exercise is designed to give you some mobility in your middle back. We want mobility there because when we have a tight lower back or tight upper back, it's going to work kinesthetically around the spine. So we want mobility everywhere. This exercise, if done right, can give you some loosen up and give you some great kind of range of motion in that middle back area, which will help with that lower back area. Now we're going to modify this slightly. We're not going to go to a hyperextension, and let me show you what I mean. Okay, so when we're in this position on a quadruped, we're going to find that neutral position in our spine by going to hyperextension and then hyperflexion, tucking our chin. You want to find that spike right in between there. So if I'm hyperextension, okay, pushing this pelvis up, and then hyperflexion, in between is my neutral. Chin tucked in, looking at the floor. From this position, I'm going to start. I'm going to go into hyperflexion for angry cat, tucking my chin to my chest, pushing through my middle back, almost like my shoulder blades are coming out. So again, in that flexion position, I'm tucking and pushing to the ceiling, and then I come back to neutral, all right? Because we threw our back out, this is the video that we're doing for, we don't want to do that hyperextension. It's a lot of pressure on that back. So we find that neutral position, we go angry cat, back to cow, angry cat, back to cow, right? Really focusing on loosening up that middle back area. That's going to give you some great range of motion in there and really help with that lower back pain. Try that for 30 to 60 seconds and repeat it a couple times. Okay, so the last exercise we're going to do is child's pose with a reach. The reason we're doing a child's pose and then reaching to side is to stretch more of your QLs in that lower back area. You're going to get some lats, maybe even a little bit of serratus anterior in the front here. But the idea is that these muscles get very tight when I shift to one side. If you see people standing in this all the time, maybe you're on the couch doing that, you got to loosen up these QLs. And if you loosen up that, it's really going to help support that lower lumbar area, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to start in that position where we're sitting on our heels and putting our arms out in front. Now, a lot of times people can't sit on their heels because of their knees. Maybe they don't have flexibility in their knees. They have bad knee pain. And so you can come forward just a little bit. Ideally, you do want to sit back on your hips and try and let your arms reach forward here and let your head come down and rest on the floor if you can. Ideally, we're in this position, and we're going to hold it for 20 to 30 seconds. After that, you're going to walk your fingers to the right, and that's going to open up your left side right here, okay? So I'm reaching to the right, maybe at about 2 or 3 o'clock on a clock, and we're going to hold that. I'm actually trying to aggressively move this hand forward, and this hand's kind of just hanging out. And that's going to help open. And you can see how this is bowing right here. All right? Again, hold that for 30 to 60 seconds. Then I'm going to come to the other side. All right? So I'm coming to the other side. So we're about 10, 11 o'clock on the clock. And we're aggressively reaching with this hand. All right? To try to bow this side out. And you'll notice probably one side's tighter than the other. And again, hold it for 30 to 60 seconds on each side. And you can come back and forth if you want. And again, if you can't sit back on your heels, you can sit up a little bit and still do that stretch. You'll still feel it kind of, again, from that attachment all the way down. Okay? So there you have it. Those are all the exercises you can do to help when you throw your back out. Please check us out on YouTube, all right, on Full Circle Fitness. Like and subscribe if you like what you're seeing. We're going to have more video content coming to you soon.